This week in Louisiana agriculture.
The 2013 Louisiana Legislative Session begins with an apparent loss for Governor Bobby Jindal, but could that mean a win for agriculture? I'm Avery Davidson with that story ahead.
Louisiana farmers could lose most of their workforce if their foreign employees don't file a federal tax return. I'm AJ Sabine, and I'll explain why coming up.
The LSU Ag Center honors 34 years of service and leadership. I'm Kristen Oakes, and I'll have that story coming up.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks so much for joining us on this week's program. By now you know any changes to the Louisiana tax system this year will now have to come from the Louisiana legislature. During the shortest speech of his administration, Governor Bobby Jindal announced that he is parking his plan to replace the state's income tax system with sales taxes and fewer tax exemptions. The governor now says he's challenging state lawmakers to send him a bill which would phase out Louisiana's income tax, and if they can do so, Jindal says he will sign it. This whole issue has many Louisiana farmers and ranchers paying closer attention to the state capitol these days, and they will be over the next 9 weeks. This week in Louisiana Agriculture's Avery Davidson now tells us why the ag community could be hit hard if such a plan is in fact approved.
Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of the great state of Louisiana, Honorable Bobby Jindal.
The 2013 Louisiana Legislative Session starts like any other, with the governor shaking hands and sharing smiles down the aisle. But once Governor Bobby Jindal is halfway through his opening speech, he lets these lawmakers know he's heard the criticism of his plan to replace the state income tax with a sales tax and fewer exemptions.
Let me do something that politicians don't normally do. I've heard those comments. We're going to adjust our course. I'm telling you today that we're actually going to park our tax plan. We're going to pull that plan, but at the same time, I'm not the kind of guy that just wants to take my ball and go home and complain.
Jindal says he wants the legislature to come up with a plan to do away with the state's income tax and that he's willing to work with these lawmakers.
I was pleased to see that he's looking towards the legislature and asking them for some solutions, some suggestions, so that they as a team can work together.
But not everyone shares that sentiment.
For 5 years, he's been putting politics and his ambition before people. It's good that he's now wanting to talk to us personally. That's really nice. We enjoyed the speech. It's nice. Notice he's gone. He's not interacting here with legislators. He's running upstairs.
So with these lawmakers now taking the lead on tax reform in Louisiana, no one is really sure how that will impact the state's farmers and ranchers.
It's a moving target. It's hard to figure out until we get it on the table, exactly what's out there.
Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry Dr. Mike Strain says now that Governor Bobby Jindal's tax plan is off the table, he's going to keep an eye on all other bills filed, especially those which could impact agricultural tax exemptions.
We'll be watching it very, very closely. We have a number of concerns we will watch it on the sales tax income tax swap. For instance, whether or not livestock at auction markets would be taxed. And as late as Saturday, I was told that they would be.
I think it's very important that we would protect the farmers, especially in a district like mine. Everything is based and thrives off of how the farmers do.
And how well Louisiana's farmers and ranchers do in the future could be determined by what these lawmakers do now. In Baton Rouge, I'm Avery Davidson for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
The 2013 Louisiana Legislative Session runs through June 6th. We'll keep you updated on all the bills impacting farmers and ranchers and rural residents across the state as the session progresses.